You know, for so many of us over 50, the day doesn't really start with a spring in our step, does it? It's more of a creak, a groan, a feeling of stiffness. Well, if that sounds at all familiar, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to be detectives and really investigate why that happens.
Let's talk about that feeling, that rusty sensation, right? It's when your muscles feel all tight, your joints feel heavy and stiff, and it can make just getting out of bed a real challenge.
So we're calling this the morning mystery. And, you know, just like in any good detective story, the very first thing we have to do is clearly define the problem we're trying to solve. Yeah, this is way more than just feeling a little groggy or sleepy. It's a physical thing. It feels like your body just doesn't want to cooperate. Almost like you're trying to walk with weights on your ankles for those first few minutes.
Okay, our investigation is taking us right to the scene of the crime. We're going deep inside your joints to look at the completely normal, natural changes that happen as we all get a little bit older. So think of cartilage like this amazing, smooth, protective cushion between your bones. But as we age, and this is totally normal, this super important cushioning starts to thin out a little. And that, right there, is our first major clue in this mystery. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Take a look. On the left, you've got a younger joint. See all that nice thick cushioning? But now, look over on the right. The cartilage is thinner. And here's the kicker. The fluid in there hasn't been moving around much all night because, well, you haven't been moving. That really sets the stage perfectly for that morning stiffness.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? That rusty feeling is the perfect analogy. When a machine sits idle for too long, it gets stiff. Your joints are kind of the same. It's really a problem of lubrication, or a lack of it, after a long night of being still.
All right, so let's bring in our second culprit, because believe me, the joints are only half the story. Your muscles play a huge part in this whole morning mystery too. I want you to picture an old rubber band you find at the back of a drawer. It just doesn't have that same snap, that same stretch it used to have, right? Well, our muscles go through a pretty similar process over time. They just gradually lose some of that natural springiness.
And this is basically what's happening every single night while you're fast asleep. You're not moving much, so those less elastic muscles are just quietly shortening up, getting tighter. And that's why those first movements in the morning, like bending over to put on your slippers, can feel surprisingly difficult.
Okay, time for our final set of clues. Let's look at how our day-to-day habits and our overall health can actually pour gasoline on the fire, making that stiffness feel even worse.
The big word here, the one to remember, is inflammation. This is so important. Things like your diet, how you handle stress, and even how you sleep can trigger inflammation in your body. And that inflammation directly leads to more stiffness and discomfort.
Think of these as the co-conspirators in our mystery. Now some are obvious, right? Like arthritis. But then you've got the sneaky ones. Everyday stress, sleeping in a weird position, maybe not being as active as you used to be. All of these things can team up to make that morning stiffness way more intense.
So, we've looked at all the evidence. We've interviewed all the suspects. It is time to deliver the verdict and finally solve this mystery of why we feel so stiff in the morning.
Okay, so here's the breakdown. Piece number one of the puzzle. It all begins with that natural, totally normal thinning of the cartilage that cushions your joints. That's the foundation. Then the situation gets a whole lot worse because your muscles, which are a little less flexible now, tighten up overnight. It's like a 1-2 punch from both your joints and your muscles. And finally, the severity of it all, how stiff you actually feel, is directly influenced by those instigators. Your daily habits, how active you are, your overall health, your lifestyle really has the final say. But listen, here's the absolute most important clue of all. Even though this feeling is super common, it is also manageable. Just understanding the why behind it is the single most powerful first step you can take to feeling better. Now that we've solved the mystery of what's causing it, the big question is, okay, so what do I do about it? Well, in our next explainer, we're going to shift gears from the problem to the solution. We'll talk about how flexibility and some simple habits can help you feel so much more comfortable every single morning.
You know, when someone says flexibility, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably a gymnast, right? Someone doing the splits. But true flexibility, the kind that really matters, isn't about that at all. It's actually one of the most powerful tools we have for aging well. And in this explainer, we are going to break down exactly why that is.
So let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar?
You know that feeling when you first get out of bed, or maybe after you've been sitting for a while, and your body just feels stiff? That little groan you let out as you stand up? Yeah, it's not just you. It is a super common experience. I mean, as we get older, it's true, the stuff in our bodies that keeps us bendy, collagen, elastin, it naturally loses a bit of its bounce. But here is the most important part, the key takeaway. This does not have to be your reality. That stiffness, it is not inevitable. It's something you can actually do something about. And this quote from our source material just nails it. It says, "Flexibility isn't just for athletes, it's essential for healthy aging." I mean, that really gets to the heart of it, right? We have to start thinking about flexibility as this fundamental pillar of our health, just as important as what we eat or getting our cardio in. So let's dive in and explore exactly why that is. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the most immediate payoff, just making everyday movements easier and a whole lot less painful. This is ground zero for how flexibility directly fights back against that stiffness we were just talking about. Now, to really get this, there's a key idea we need to talk about, and that's range of motion. It sounds technical, but it's super simple. All it means is the full, pain-free movement your joints have. How far can you move your shoulder? How easily can you bend your knee or turn your head, all without feeling that pinch or strain? That's your range of motion. And this is exactly where that kind of technical term slams right into real life. Having a better range of motion, it's not some abstract goal for the gym. It's about being able to stand up from a chair smoothly. It's reaching for that thing on the top shelf without wincing. It's walking with a comfortable, easy stride and, taking the stairs without even thinking about it. So, okay, easier movement. That's the first big win. But what's really fascinating to me is how this leads right into our next point. Flexibility also acts like this protective shield for your body. It helps you dodge those nagging little sprains and strains that can come from just, living your life. And you can really see the difference when you put them side by side. Think about it. Tight muscles are constantly pulling on your joints. That creates tension and it just ups your risk of injury. But flexible muscles, they do the opposite. They ease that strain, they actually improve your blood flow, and they help you bounce back way faster if you happen to, overdo it a little. So, how does this actually work? Well, it's pretty simple, really. When you do some gentle stretching, you're basically encouraging your muscle tissues to stay soft and, pliable. Then, that better blood flow we mentioned acts like a delivery service, bringing all the oxygen and nutrients your body needs to repair itself nice and efficiently. All right, now for a benefit that might actually surprise you. We've covered comfort, we've covered protection, but did you know that flexibility can also be a huge source of energy? Seriously, it's like a natural wake-up call for your entire body. It's this simple but really powerful chain reaction. First, that gentle stretch gets your circulation going. That increased blood flow then delivers more oxygen and nutrients right to your muscles. And the result? Your muscles and really your whole body just feel more energized and awake. And you know what's fantastic? This benefit is doing double duty. That exact same boost in circulation that's waking up your muscles, it's also nourishing your joints, helping to keep them healthier for the long haul. It's a total win-win. Okay, so after hearing about all these amazing benefits, you might be thinking, oh great, this is gonna take a huge chunk of my day. But here's the best part, and maybe the most empowering piece of news. We are not talking about hour-long yoga classes here. All it takes is just 5 to 10 minutes of gentle stretching a day. That's it. That's enough to make a real noticeable difference. So let's wrap this all up. What's the simple takeaway here? It's this. A simple, consistent flexibility routine is one of the single most effective things you can do to support your mobility, to increase your day-to-day comfort, and, this is the big one, to maintain your independence as you get older. And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This isn't just about preventing stiffness. It's about unlocking a life with more freedom, more comfort, more ease. So the real question isn't about what you have to do. It's about what you could gain. What could 5 minutes of flexibility give back to you?